Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to share your thoughts on what you think in the comment section down below. I welcome you to a powerful video where Black Americans set the record straight about their identity and heritage. For too long, there's been a misconception that all Black Americans are from Africa, but the truth is more complex. Now in this video, our brothers and sisters share their stories and shed light on the historical and cultural context that's been erased. From the transatlantic slave trade to the forced assimilation and cultural erasure, they reveal how the narrative of African origin has been used to disconnect them from their true heritage. They share their personal experiences from the struggle to connect with their roots to the discovery of their true identity as indigenous to America. With passion, logic, and historical facts, they challenge the status quo and reclaim their narrative. They are not just pushing back against the simplistic label of African American, but also reclaiming their cultural heritage, language, and identity. So with that said, let's take a look at these interesting videos. I will be right back.
African Americans are going through an identity crisis right now, and there's a lot of misinformation on the internet.
Child, honey, you zesty over there. You all upset. That's what I don't understand about people who talk about the subject like that. You all upset and you don't provide any fact except for DNA. Now, honey, if you read that little package on that 23andMe, it done told you it was for entertainment purposes only. Well, why are you so zesty? Listen, I'm going to start this out just for you. I agree with you, love. African Americans do have an identity crisis because you believe that you're from two separate continents and you have a legal standing on something. The only legal standing you got, darling, in America is the Dred Scott decision. You know what that is? No right that a black person has that a white person has to attend to. Isn't that something? Living life on your knees, being told what to do. Now, some people do like being on your knees for certain things, and I don't know. It's kind of entertaining to me to see it sometimes. But for people who want to live their life that way, and, you know, some people are just want to be in that category. What can you say? And if you're one of those people, that's all right. But there are 98% of us who are indigenous to America. And a percentage of those people really like to go by the facts like this. Congress.gov. Congress.gov tells you that the American Indian was reclassified to Black and Negro and so on. Now, reading and comprehension are two different things. Some people are not going to be able to comprehend what they read due to the indoctrination from the Rockefeller education system. That's why I say schooling is always better than education. But hey, listen, if you want to believe that, that's up to you. But why are you getting mad at the indigenous Americans? Like, why? Here's the UN case for you. Like, I deal in law and lawful matters, right? So in law, it tells you these things, but you got to read and you got to be able to comprehend them. I'm not mad at you because of whatever you want to believe. But when you start telling the world there's no facts, then you support things with something frivolous like these entertaining DNA tests. That's kind of crazy. So I have a responsibility to track that, but you can believe whatever you want. Now, African American does have a trademark here in America for food. You know how they used to eat black people? Like, look up the stories of Nat Turner. Now, if you can read, you can comprehend, you're going to see and you're going to know historical facts that people used to eat black people. Isn't that something? And so nobody got a patent, so they can eat them again, I guess legally. According to some reports, they're doing that already in some McDonald's. But hey, I digress. You want to hold on to your African American title, go for it. There's a patent waiting for you in terms of being food, and there's a law that says that you are a misnomer. And then there's a law that says there's no right that you have that anyone has to respect. So if you want to be on your knees in law, not treated like a human in a subcategory that can also go for food, go for it. But for the percentage of us who know that we're indigenous to America with humanity intact in terms of the laws and know who we are, that's our business. We ain't messing with you. Why you with us? Live well in your category. Let's see how well that do for you. But we good over here, sir. Have a good one and calm down a little bit. See ya.
If we were really from Africa, America would have never told you. I mean, what's the point of taking someone's last name, taking mother away from daughter, taking son away from father, making sure they can't speak their language, making sure they don't know their culture? if you're just going to turn around and tell them the exact location where they're from in the first place? It just makes no sense. What makes sense is telling them they're from somewhere else so they won't connect to their actual land and heritage and culture. Think about it. Peace to the God.
You know what? I'm sick of y'all telling us that we from Africa. I'm really sick and tired. I keep bringing up these receipts of Native American indigenous hair texture right here. Check it out. You can say we from Africa all you want, but the truth is we was living in America. You understand?
I don't know what you identify as, but I'm not African whatsoever. I wasn't born in Africa. I don't speak any African languages. I'm not culturally African. I'm not ethnically African whatsoever, okay? My ethnogenesis was created in America. My culture, my food was created in America. I'm American, okay? Let me give you an analogy. Do I still have African genetics? Yes, everybody does, because it's the cradle of civilization. But let me give you an analogy. The water buffalo, you feel me? The water buffalo is native to Africa, and the American bison is native to America. They're both genetically related to each other. But the American bison evolved out of Africa to become what we know as native to America. That is the same situation Black Americans have. All right? Especially after being a foundational key to the nation. All right? How the hell are we gonna build shit here and then not be called American? That's fucking ridiculous, and that's disrespectful for people to try to bar us from that. You feel me? So to answer your question, personally, for me, no, I'm not. And that's okay. Okak, kaparatayo done.
Now, the videos featuring these Black Americans sharing their experiences and perspectives on their identity and heritage are powerful videos on the complexities of race, culture, and belonging. One of the most striking aspects of the video is the way it highlights the erasure of Black Americans' cultural heritage and identity. As one of the brothers so eloquently puts it, if we were really from Africa, America would have never told you. This statement gets to the heart of the matter, the transatlantic slave trade and the forced assimilation that followed, which deliberately disconnected Black people from their African roots and cultural heritage. Now, the brothers point about the logic of taking people away from their families, languages, and cultures, only to later tell them they're from a specific location in Africa, is a scathing critique of the ways in which slavery and colonialism have shaped our understanding of identity. Another brother's emphasis on the importance of hair texture as a marker of indigenous identity is also significant. Now, this highlights the ways in which Black Americans have been disconnected from their indigenous roots and the cultural practices that come with it. I feel these videos are a powerful testament to the complexity and diversity of Black American experiences and identities. It challenges simplistic narratives and highlights the need for a more nuanced understanding of the ways in which race, culture, and belonging intersect. Now, according to this article, it reads that Black natives exist. We are indigenous people of what is currently known as the Americas and the Caribbean, and we're also the descendants of indigenous people of Africa. This identity often includes freedmen, the free men and women who were once enslaved by citizens of the 5 tribes and their descendants. Black natives and freedmen are the legacy of our Black and Native ancestors. We are the personification of their joy, pain, resistance, and endurance, and it is because of our Black and Native ancestors' hope and resilience that we are still here. It is important to lump Black Native identities into a single identity. We are as diverse as we are numerous in our lived experiences. Like, our identities are not monolithic. We therefore refer to ourselves in a number of ways, such as Afro-Indigenous, Black Native, Indigenous and Black, Black and Native, Black and a tribal identity. Many of us, by choosing to honor both our peoples through our identities, are intentionally pushing back against America's tradition of classifying people into distinct racial categories. We are pushing back against society's pressure to choose between our identities because we we may look more like one than the other, or not enough of both. Now, some of us are even simultaneously decompartmentalizing and desegregating our Black and Native identities by using traditional language or developing a new language of resistance to speak to who we are and the people we come from. Many Black natives are also deliberately and willfully seeking new ways to show up as our whole selves, as equally Black and equally Native in our daily lives. We are challenging, interrogating, and dismantling the political borders placed upon us. By choosing to exist as Black and Native and owning our dual identities, we are an affront to these very systems that seek to erase our indigeneity and marginalize our Blackness. We are reclaiming our right to self-determination and exercising bodily and cultural autonomy by inhabiting and celebrating both our peoples. Many of us have learned to root our full selves in the knowledge that since first contact between Africans and Native people, our Black and Indigenous ancestors have continuously built community, forged relationships, platonic, romantic, familial, kinship, and political, and fought against systems of oppression that are both unique to our respective communities as well as overlapping. But we're not disillusioned and do recognize that there have been times, even today, when our people have been at odds or even in opposition to one another, forfeiting alliances and even participating in one another's oppression as a means of survival, and in some cases, out of self-interest. However, these instances of harm or betrayal should not be understood in isolation but must be contextualized in direct relation to that of our respectful and mutual oppression, which traces back to the founding of the nation on the backs of enslaved Africans and their descendants and the attempted genocide and assimilation of Indigenous people. I feel it's time to acknowledge and respect the diverse experiences and identities within the Black American community. For too long, the assumption has been made that all Black Americans are from Africa, erasing the histories and cultural heritage of those who are indigenous to America. The transatlantic slave trade was not the only source of Black people in America. Many Black people were already living in the Americas, brought here by Spanish and Portuguese explorers or migrated from the Caribbean. Indigenous Black people have been living in the Americas for thousands of years with their own distinct cultures, languages, and traditions. The classification of all Black Americans as African American ignores the complexity of their identities and experiences. Many Black Americans have Native American ancestry, and some are enrolled members of federally recognized tribes. The erasure of Indigenous Black identities has led to the loss of cultural heritage, language, and connection to ancestral lands. It's time to recognize and respect the diversity within Black American community and acknowledge the histories and experiences of those who are indigenous to America. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your own thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.